sky is falling down. Ain't nobody here to play around.
It's the most entertaining, longest reigning YouTube channel indifferent to your history with your host, the man that runs the show, the man that everybody knows, the man that's right here in the flesh, the man that is the very best. Therapist sound because it's about to go down right here, right now. It's Champion. What's going on, everyone? I hope everyone is having a great week thus far. It's been 7 days since I made my last video. I wanted to make one sooner, but stuff happened. But I'm here right now, bringing you another X weapon review. I wanted to do a video on the 300% chance weapon and armor, but like I said, I didn't have time to get around that. But the event is still going on. Here's the event right here, 300% weapon and armor loot, and it's been 4 days since this event has been going on, so I really hope you guys are really taking full advantage of that right now. And personally for me, I think I looted a couple days during the event, but I keep thinking like admin opponent's just going to stop the event, so I'm like, I'm not going to bother going out in the inner city really looting anything, because I'm sure he's going to end the event. But like I said, it just keeps going on and on. But first and foremost, I just want to give a shout out to Angry Cupcake for letting me borrow the X Python renamed the Russian Roulette. And I also want to give a shout out to our winner, the King's Man's Son. He won the Mastercrafted Junker 6 during my last giveaway for my last video. So congratulations to the King's Man's Son. And let's get with the review. So this is going to be a really fun review personally for me, just because the last review with the X Garand and the long shot, they had a lot of similarities. However, with the X-Dusk Enforcer and the X Python, I almost said the Russian Roulette, but the X-Dusk Enforcer and the X Python, they have a lot of things that are really different between both of the pistols, and I'm just really excited to dive into this video, pick it apart for you guys, and let you guys know, like, you know, how good the X Python really is and how does it compare to the X-Dusk Enforcer. So in terms of its looks, I mean, I'm not going to dive into all that because you guys want to, you know, see the stats and what the guns actually do. But the X-Dusk Enforcer, I personally feel, is the best looking pistol in the game. And the X Python, I really don't like the design. I mean, I've never seen a pistol personally with a handle that big before, and I'm just not a fan of the look as a whole. I wish you could actually redesign the whole X Python. That's just my thoughts on it. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but I'm not too big of a fan in terms of the looks. But I'm going to dive into the wiki right here, compare the two pistols, and tell you the advantages and the disadvantages between, you know, the X Python and the Enforcer. So the Enforcer requires .50, doesn't really matter though, the .55 handgun ammo. However, the X-Dusk Enforcer does have ghost ammo, so that's one of the huge benefits of having the X-Dusk Enforcer, and why the X-Dusk Enforcer will always be the #1 pistol in the game, mainly because of the ghost ammo. And the X Python has .357 handgun ammo. The benefit with this is .357 is actually very cheap on the marketplace. That's why when you guys saw, you know, were watching the video earlier, I actually had this open beforehand to show you guys the prices. So it's 6,000 cash per 800 bullets, which is very cheap. And the only downfall, you know, the price might be cheap, but the only downfall is that it's going to take up inventory space. I bought 4 boxes, so for those that want to loot, that's mainly what the pistols are really for in general, just to loot, you know, quietly. And the thing is, if you're going to loot with the pistol, you're just going to have to carry ammo on you. That's just going to take up inventory space. So I'm going to exit this out. And the thing about the X-Dusk Enforcer is fast reload speed. The X Python has very, not very slow, but slow reload speed. And it also has 6 round capacity, so 6 rounds per reload or clip. And the X-Dusk Enforcer has 20 round capacity. And the X-Dusk Enforcer has the same accuracy and critical chance as the X Python. However, the X-Dusk Enforcer has average firing speed, and the X Python has slow firing speed. And the DPS, I'll read it all for you guys really quickly. The X-Dusk Enforcer has a 59 damage per second, 247.8 crit, damage per hit 29.5, and crit 147.5. And the X Python has a lot more damage per hit, compared to the X-Dusk Enforcer. Has 40 damage per hit, 200 for crit, and average damage per second is 60 and 252 for the crit. And the requirements to craft the X Python: you need 1 Cold Python, 1 Python blueprint, 5 Python parts, and 3 Devil's Hearts. And that's pretty much it compared to the 2 pistols. And the X Python, the downfalls, the disadvantages: I don't like the 6-round capacity. I think that's way too low. However, we're going to test this thing out in the inner city. We're going to test it out in the arena, PvPing somebody, and just to see how much damage this pistol actually does. Because if it has 6-round capacity, I'm really expecting this pistol to really do a lot of damage, and I really want to notice the difference. Like, I want to compare both pistols and be like, wow, the X Python really has a huge damage advantage compared to the X-Dusk Enforcer. But my prediction is I'm not going to see that. I'm going to see the X-Dusk Enforcer actually hang with the X Python, especially with the fact that the X Python actually has a much slower reload speed than the X-Dusk Enforcer. For me personally, I like to loot with the fast pistol, especially one that has a limited ammo. And with slow reload for a pistol, it's just going to be a lot more difficult to manage the aggro when you're looting or just when you're killing zombies in general. And that's all I have for you guys in terms of the wiki. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually test this thing out in the inner city. I wanted to actually test this thing out in the arena PvP, but I don't have anybody at the moment to test it out with me. So I'm going to go out in the inner city and compare it with the zombies first. Then after that, I'm gonna see if I can do the PvP test with it, and then I'll wrap up the video. So let's get it. Alright, so right now I'm currently 1 up from Synchronon Bunker, and I actually made this review out in the inner city already. But the thing is, I actually didn't realize that I had all my implants on. So I forgot my last video with the X-Grand. I actually took all the implants off, so I'm actually gonna redo everything again, and this time just doing it without the implants. At least I can actually compare it better with you guys, because I actually tried it with the implants on, so I can see if there's actually a big difference with me using implants and me not using implants. So the X Python, it should be able to one hit all the regular zombies. So it's 1 hit in everything, sometimes 2 hits. Really all depends on whether you land a crit or not. And the thing that I noticed with the Python compared to the X-Dusk Enforcer, like the reload isn't that bad. In the X-Dusk Enforcer, I'll reload it real quick. Like, yeah, you can see that the X-Dusk Enforcer reloads a little bit quicker, but I don't think the reload is really much of a factor between the 2 pistols. And another thing that I noticed that I actually think is a pretty big deal is just the firing speed. Like I told you guys while I was going over the wiki, the X Python actually shoots pretty slow compared to the X-Dusk Enforcer. It goes bam, 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 bam. But the X-Dusk Enforcer is like bam, 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 bam. So it's like a half a second quicker, but that half a second, it all adds up as time goes by. The X-Dusk Enforcer is just a really quick pistol. But the X Python, in terms of its damage, like it definitely does the damage, and the fact that it has 6 rounds, 6-round capacity, I mean, it's pretty annoying because you have to reload the pistol a lot. Like the X-Dusk Enforcer has 20-round capacity. That's like triple the time, more than triple the times as the X Python. So the thing with the Python is you're just gonna have to reload it a lot. And that could be a hindrance when it comes to, killing aggro in like a bigger crowd. But if you're like solo on aggro like this, it's really not that bad. Especially since you're using a pistol, everything's quiet. So it's definitely like, if you land a critical shot, it's definitely 1 hit. If you don't land a crit, it's 2 hits. While I was using the implant, or all the implants for me, like it was 1 hit in everything. Like it wasn't even 2 hit in, like it was 1 hit in everything besides the leapers, spiders, and the tendrils, depending on whether I landed a crit or not. But with the implants on, like it didn't even matter if I did or did not land a critical hit. Like I would be with the 1 hit all the basic zombies. So with this on the other hand, it's just 1 hit on a crit, and if it's a non-crit, it's a 2-hit. But overall, this pistol is definitely really not that bad of a pistol. It definitely hangs in there with the X-Dusk Enforcer, but I just don't feel personally it's worth the buy just because of how pricey it is. I personally would just go with the Greyhawk for the time being. Obviously, the Greyhawk isn't as good as the X-Python, not nearly as good, but like I said, the X-Python is just way too much money. The X-Dusk Enforcer is always going to be the #1 pistol in the game. I mean, ghost ammo, the firing speed, how perfect it is for looting, doesn't take up inventory space. The X-Dusk Enforcer, it's just going to be #1, period. But this X-Python is really not that bad, though. Like, it's really eliminating the aggro pretty quickly. And like I said, the firing speed is really all not that great, along with the reload. But the thing about the X-Python, which makes the gun so deadly, is the damage. Everything else I feel like the X-Dusk Enforcer has over. And when it comes to the damage, like, I feel like the X-Dusk Enforcer, like, it shoots quicker, but it's definitely like 1-hitting, 2-hitting zombies. Like, it's doing just as much damage. Alright, I'm gonna resume this video in just a second, but when it comes to the giveaway, 7 people at random have to type the number 7 along with their IGN to win a prize of my choosing. The first winner will win a paint shot, and the other winners will win a prize of my choosing, like I said. So be sure to type the number 7 along with your IGN as well, and I'll be choosing the prizes as always through random.org. Alright, so let's resume this. And there's really not much left I can really test out for you guys in the inner city. I think I did a pretty good review in terms of comparing these two pistols. And it's just all about getting a feel of it and, you know, just understand the strengths, the weaknesses. I mean, I can mute my mic really quickly for you guys so you guys can hear the sounds. But when it comes to the sound, I mean, they sound pretty similar. I feel like the X-Python sounds a little bit more deeper than the X-Dusk Enforcer. But yeah, I'll mute myself for just a second so you guys can hear it more better. Alright, so there you have it. And man, just that 6 like clip reload is, like I said, it's just definitely a hindrance. But there you have it. That's the inner city review. Let me guys know what you think of the X-Python. I gave you guys my thoughts. I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts as well. I'm gonna leave this on pause and I'm gonna head in the arena and, or maybe out in the inner city, depending on who I can get to test it out with me. But I do want to test these pistols out in regards to PvP. My prediction is the X-Python is gonna do like 1 hit less than the X-Dusk Enforcer in terms of killing somebody with the Vengeance card on. So like I said, we'll see what happens. It's going to take 1 or 2 less hits, and it really all depends on me landing the critical hits as well. But yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so right as I was about to make the PvP video, I actually went on the different tier forums and I came across this thread, and man, I completely disrespected the Desert Rat. But I just forgot that even existed. And I think I told you guys that the Greyhawk was actually the pistol that came before the Python and the Enforcer. But the Desert Rat, well, not came before, but in terms of just like, you know, skill and stuff. But the Desert Rat is, you know, the third pistol. I mean, whether you guys want to say it's behind, in front, but the Desert Rat is up there with the X-Python and the X-Dusk Enforcer. And it actually got 7 votes on here. X-Python 2, X-Dusk Enforcer 23, including myself, in terms of which pistol you prefer and why. And the reason why the Desert Rat actually has 7 votes is just because of the fact that it has more DPS than the X-Dusk Enforcer. It has more round capacity than the X-Dusk Enforcer, and the accuracy and the firing speed is pretty, I think it's the same with the X-Dusk Enforcer. And the X-Python, like I told you guys during the inner city review, it's just slow in terms of its reload and its firing speed. So you can see why people actually prefer the Desert Rat over the Python. But either way, all these 3 pistols are all great pistols in the game. They all, I mean, they're all a little different from one another, but you know, the X-Python is definitely a lot more different than the Desert Rat and the X-Dusk Enforcer. But yeah, they're all up there. They're all great pistols. and let's just dive into the PvP. Alright, what's going on, everyone? X-Dusk Enforcer first, Python second, and Isham is going to be my target again. It took me 5 hours to actually find somebody, so I ended up with the same person again, and let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, that was 14. The 15 shot actually didn't hit him. So I'm going to leave this on pause. Isham's going to tell me how many times it hit him. He said 14 too. So 14 shots with the X-Dusk Enforcer. And now it's time for the X-Python. The moment we've all been waiting for. Let's see how many shots the X-Python takes to kill somebody with the Vengeance Guard and Max Endurance. So let's get it, man. It should take around, like I told you guys, maybe 12 shots. I'm predicting 12 shots, maybe 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, 9 shots. Isham counted 10. So 10 shots. It's actually a lot more less than I expected. So there you have it. Let's go back into Outpost. I'll explain further of my opinion regarding all this. Lots of mixed thoughts though. Alright, so that's all the testing regarding the full review of the X-Python. My opinion with the whole PvP aspect, I still prefer the X-Dusk Enforcer because it shoots quicker. Like that X-Python, if you notice me shooting the Isham with it, that reload was so slow once my 6 bullets ran out. So the X-Dusk Enforcer, it just has that fast firing speed, a limited ammo, and it's just like, you know, it really all depends on the critical hits. I would say the Python deals around 3 to 4 less hits than the X-Dusk Enforcer to kill somebody average. So I'd rather take the X-Dusk Enforcer instead. And yeah, let me know what you guys think regarding the X-Python. Do you like the pistol? Do you dislike the pistol? How does it compare with other pistols you think? And yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Love y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, everybody.